Yeah, we've got good showing. John's another new board.
All right.
How is your?
Well, good morning, everybody. We will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 8 a.m. And Amanda, would you take the roll, please?
Yes, committee members Kavanaugh, Foreman, Keith, David Lynn, not seeing him, Stephanie Lynn, Marisol, Jake,
Here.
Vice Chair Baird, here, and Chair Kasperzak.
Here.
Am I no longer on the list?
I thought Marisol took your spot.
No, Marisol has her own spot because she's DBA. I'm the chamber.
Oh, okay, my apologies, I thought it was
I may be stepping off momentarily.
That's why you don't have a name tag.
Oh.
Has nothing to do with that. I'm
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought Marisol was the chamber rep. Yes, I will add you.
And here comes Anne.
Good morning.
For some reason, I thought.
Are you still sick?
Yeah, I am actually. I thought Marina was the DBA representative.
I'm just a
You're just, okay. That was my misunderstanding. Peter, I will get you an official placard
You know
too.
what? Okay.
So
I'm
many
gonna go in my
different,
corner
so
and
many
cry.
special
No, we're so
membership
happy you're here.
I mean, this is probably, this is probably the most, this is the most complicated committee in terms of the
Yeah, the
structure of
membership.
its,
So true.
of the membership of the committee. So, moving on, item number 3 is, the approval of the minutes, and the minutes for the April 1st meeting have been delivered to committee members and posted. If there are any corrections, please voice them. Otherwise, a motion to approve the minutes would be welcome.
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
Okay, Pamela is made the motion and Marina has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimously. Item number 4, upcoming agenda topics, and you can see on the list some of the things that are on the list. We got vacant storefronts, parking plan update, art murals downtown, precise plan update, school performances, joint meeting with visual and performing arts committee, street signs, PG&E, and retail coach report next step, and bike parking. Anything that anybody wants to try and get on the next thing, Pamela?
Well, as wearing 2 hats, I would like to see us again, look at trying to do historical markers for buildings and or places in downtown. And of course, the Mountain View Historical Association would be glad to work with the committee to make suggestions.
Let's talk offline, just, because we can't talk about it here, so.
Are we allowed to talk about it offline also?
What?
Are we allowed to talk about it offline?
Well,
No.
Yeah, I was like,
well, no,
I just went through the rules
that's
recently.
that's not true. A quorum cannot talk about it
Okay,
offline.
So it would just
We
be-
are, the 2 of us are not a quorum,
okay, so,
Yeah.
okay.
right? So,
Nor would we share our conversation with others.
yeah, so,
So I have could we revisit the music thing, the amplified sound? in
Oh, the
downtown?
busking?
Yeah.
The busking ordinance?
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still not really certain where that actually ended up either, because I know some provisions were put into the what do we call it? The where it's closed. You know,
Oh, into
where
the Ped
Pastor
Mall.
Street is closed,
Yeah.
yeah. But in terms of overall, I mean,
And maybe.
Overall busking is not allowed,
right,
as we.
but we were looking at that and that was on the agenda as a thing to come up with a new busking ordinance or something,
So
so.
I'll add it to the list.
Oh.
Just a comment on that note.
Well, we can't really discuss it,
Let's
so,
discuss it then. Add it to-
so yes, we'll put the busking.
Just want to add that
Ordinance
if we
back
can compare what the other nearby cities doing,
Right.
That's.
Yeah, I was just in Los Altos the other night, for the first Friday, and they actually have open carry of alcohol.
Oh,
They do.
Friday night, first Friday.
Entertainment zone.
All right. Anything else on item number 4? All right. Do we need to do the public on that, Amanda?
I think.
Yeah.
We do.
Okay, and is there any member of the public that would like to address item number 4?
There's no one online and no one in person.
Okay. We will end number 4 and move on to item number 5, oral communications from the public. Before I go through the big deal, nobody online?
Nobody online, no one
Okay.
in person.
All right. Seeing no public, we will move on to item number 6, unfinished business. And item 6.1 is the downtown development update. Sneaking in just in time to make his presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Vincent Kwan, Associate Planner, here to give you guys the downtown development updates for May. There's limited updates for this month. The only two was direct your attention to item number 14, 262 Castro Street. That's a recently approved provisional use permit for a medical service. What is considered a medical service, which includes massage and acupuncture, which replaces an existing furniture store in downtown. So that was recently approved a couple weeks ago on April 23rd, and currently they're awaiting a building permit submittal before they will kind of begin fully occupying and using the space. The other item, I guess, are there any questions regarding that one?
What's 262? Is there anything?
Is that base shop right now?
Yeah,
Bases.
Okay,
it's like antique spaces.
Yeah, it's.
And they don't have very consistent hours, so I think this is a win. This will be a more activated store. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first item that I could bring your attention to. Second item is for item number 17, which is for 384 Castro Street. It's a minor facade modifications to the existing commercial tenant space. That's the currently the M Design architecture group, and they're doing some minor facade updates. That was approved back in April 4th of 2025 by the planning division. That was staff approval, and it's currently awaiting building permit submittal before they begin construction and modifications to the existing structure. And then I guess 3 items, sorry about that. Lastly, it's item number 18 for 303 Bryant Street. This was a minor facade modifications to the existing commercial building that's right on the kitty corner of where CVS is, right next to it. So there's some minor facade modifications to that building. It's currently under construction, so you may see some construction activity out there along that frontage for 303 Bryant.
Peter, did you have your hand up?
I know.
Okay, well, I thought that maybe you were going to rest.
I
Okay,
just wanted to comment, that particular project looks amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely an upgrade from what it was
Yeah.
previously. And hopefully that'll be completed in the next month or two.
Which project is that?
It's right on Bryant and you know the CVS?
Yeah, yeah.
On the other side, right? So Bryant and Dana.
Yeah, it's just a commercial building, right?
It's a commercial, yeah.
I
it
haven't
used to
paid
be like-
attention to what it looks like
Yeah,
now.
it looks like, I don't know, what is it, bakery in there?
I don't know what current, who's gonna be occupying the space, but it's a facade upgrade to, I believe it's like some sort of stone veneer on the outside. So they're installing it currently.
wasn't that the old PayPal building? Sort of across the street from the parking lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
corner one, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where PayPal was.
yeah,
Oh,
long time ago, yeah.
oh, wow.
Are these available publicly, like what the facade's gonna look like?
Yes, they're publicly available downstairs. You can,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
if you'd like to look at it, any of those plans, you're welcome to go down to our community development department and just look at those plans of what they are proposed to look like or their completion.
I'm guessing it's too much to hope for. When that was.
Yeah, As far as the listings building permit under review, some of these same listings have been on the report for some time. Would it be disclosing too much information to say when the building permit request or was first presented to the city? Or is that disclosing information that you for the public to know? I'm just curious about how long it takes. I'm not calling the city, I'm not saying it's that far off, because applicants can have things that are not complete or don't get around to filling out all the paperwork properly. I'm just kind of curious about how long some of these processes occur.
I'll look at it and speak to that.
Diana?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for the question. I just wanted to say that information can be availed about specific projects. If somebody wants to know, they can come to the counter to get that information. But it will be too much to keep a track of that and to bring it into a report format. But that information is definitely available. If somebody wants to know about a specific project, they can come to the counter and inquire about that.
Thank you.
And Diana, presumably if when members of the downtown committee get the agenda packet, if there was a specific project they were curious about, they could submit a request in advance of the meeting. And then Vincent could report on that at the meeting.
Absolutely. I think that will be a perfect way to do that. Or you can even email Vincent or I at any point of time and ask about that, and we'll be more than happy to present that information.
Great. Any other comments or questions from
Yeah.
the committee?
One comment
Janelle?
is that the Mediterranean Cafe right next to Starbucks, I think it has some other cafeteria took over on it, and now it's been
Sana
busy.
Cafe is,
Sana Cafe, and
they
it's
didn't
so
take over.
busy.
It's an addition.
Addition to, yeah,
Yeah.
and it is, it's so busy, like 9:30, 10 o'clock when I walk, it's just a good sight to see. It used to be totally nothing here, but it's like it's packed at that time, 9:30, 10:30, yeah, so I just want to bring it up. And I want to have it late dinner.
And Jamil, I don't know if this is appropriate timing wise, but one of the things the chamber and the city are working on is how to activate that space better. And so we've got actually a meeting with Prometheus, to talk about that in more detail, because Prometheus obviously owns the alleyway as well. So trying to look at ways that we can activate all of that together.
All right. Thank you.
Is there any public comment? Amanda?
I see no members of the public online and no one in person.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, we will move on down to item 6.2, the Castro Street update. Thanks, Vincent.
So I have just really one major exciting update to share, but decorative street treatment installation starts today. So you'll start seeing workers out there. They're taking I'll show you. They're taking it, excuse me, in half block segments. So they'll be on the 200 and 300 block the next couple of days, but you can see how they're sort of shifting. The point is really to try and not close down the entire street so that pedestrians can still have access. And that we can hopefully avoid people trouncing through the street and leaving paint footprints all over. So yeah, really exciting. And we've done a lot about reaching communications. I just walked these sandwich boards out there this morning before our meeting. So we have signage up so people who are coming into contact with the project can get more information. We've emailed all the businesses, done social media, press release, in-person outreach. I've set up a web page. So I'm really trying to make sure that the public is aware of this happening and the businesses. But this is really, really exciting. As you all know, this is a long time kind of coming. Just in the last couple of years, we've been working on this, and I think it's going to be really make for a fun.
How long it takes to dry?
It should be dried by the end of the day. That we purposely picked hot.
Perfect day,
Yeah.
perfect day.
So the contractors will actually stay on site until it's completely dry to
Great.
get people off of it. But they're anticipating, that it'll take about 2 to 3 days per block and about 9 days total.
So
Is it-
they're going,
Oh, is it a paint or is it like the thermo plastic that that
I'll let-
traffic uses.
Runa speak to the technical piece.
Hi, this is Aruna, Transportation Planner. This is a water-based paint. It's not thermoplastic. That's much more expensive and probably not needed for
Right.
the surface. So yes,
Okay,
not
thank you.
thermoplastic.
Well, we anticipate it'll last.
Yeah, the vendor said it lasts 5 to 10 years with, basic touch-ups, but doesn't need a total redo. Given that only pedestrians are going to be walking through and not, vehicles are not going to be there, so it's much less attrition.
Cool.
So is there going to be an unveiling ceremony?
No, we do not have any unveiling planned, but we are.
Ribbon cutting?
Yeah.
Well, now that you've said that, we'll probably have a major earthquake.
Right around those lines.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And then just a verbal update, letting you all know, outdoor patio licenses all expire at the end of this fiscal year, so end of June. So we are doing outreach to the existing businesses that have outdoor patios to let them know that it's time to renew. So they'll need to provide updated insurance information, if they've encroached into their neighbor's frontage, they'll need to renew that approval. So there's a couple of steps that they'll need to take, but reminding you all and the public that this is happening and to work with us earlier rather than later to make that happen.
Is there a way to have a multi-year
You're what?
Yeah,
contract?
yeah, part of the challenge, is that with like the approvals of neighbors, we've heard that it's easier to kind of digest a 1-year approval and we assess. It's something we could certainly look into, but I think for now, with the first year of the program, we wanted to take it in sort of year-long chunks. So it's certainly something we look at it for the future.
I just think of a lot of, businesses that don't change over time, but it's just like, oh my gosh, something else I have to think about, right? Type of thing. And so if we could get some consistency, that would be good. I appreciate that the personality of the street and tenants and all that change over time, but it might not be a bad thing to look at.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And is it the same process for those that already have it?
It is the same process, but they don't have to, there's a one-time application fee the very first time they apply, but there's no additional fees in future years. Yeah, Runa?
And I just want to add something else to your question, Peter. Insurances expire annually. There is, county health permit that needs to be renewed annually, so there is a lot of tie-up. If there is no due process, it will be hard to get all the information back from the businesses, so this is one approach to
That makes sense.
that. Thanks.
Lord knows we need due process now. Sorry, didn't mean to get political, but. Amanda, also, as I've learned about, and I may have been asleep or something if this came up before, but was it the AG's opinion on contracting work and our bollard painting program?
Yes, so yes, as you know, the Visual Arts Committee selected artists to install art on bollards at every intersection along the pedestrian mall. We've learned that their current sort of state opinion are that artists should be considered contractors and so need to have a contractor's license to install art. So it is essentially halted art, public art, not private art, halted art, just sort of in California. And so we are waiting on legislation going through California right now to get an exemption for muralist. We likely won't know until the fall and whether the governor will sign it and it'll be immediately in effect or if we have to wait till the new year. So we're disappointed to have to put that project on hold, but there was just too many.
Has there been any discussion or are you aware of any other cities, through the league or through Cal Cities or anything that's challenged the interpretation of this law? Is my understanding this was an interpretation of existing law?
Yeah, let me, I see Kirsten Hines, who is our public art staff, and let me just see if she's available to speak. Hi, Kirsten, not to put you on the spot. Did you hear the question about how other cities are handling?
Well, more specifically, is anybody challenging the interpretation. I imagine most people are just laying down and saying, okay.
Yeah, it's from what I understand, other cities are handling this the exact same way. They don't want to I think Amanda mentioned there's a bill going forward. It's Senate Bill 456. So at this point, because there's a bill going forward that would exempt muralists from needing to be licensed contractors, cities are they don't want to risk this bill getting passed and moving forward, and so they're pausing or public art projects, or at least mural projects.
Is Cal City supporting the bill?
Yes, yeah. In Mountain View, we submitted a letter of in support of it as well.
Okay. Great, thanks.
What
Marina?
is the, if you could take the other route, to give them a permit to be a contractor, is that done by the city?
It's a state license and it's
It's a
quite
state
involved, unfortunately. Yeah. It requires certain amount of, years, I believe, of work and, yeah, it can be expensive and insurance and all that.
There's bars you have to pass and things like that, yeah.
You start with crayon and then you go.
Yeah.
But as soon as we know more, we'll certainly report out. But yeah, we were disappointed to have to put that project on hold.
So how would that affect the mural panels? And maybe Kirsten knows this, the mural panels are going to be installed on the train station that was as a grant from VTA. Those are removable, so is that considered art because it's not attached to the building?
Yeah, Kirsten, do you want to field that one?
Yeah, that it's not a mural. If the murals they'd be something that's painted on the building, and this came up, this issue with muralists needing to be licensed came up because they were told they needed to be I think it's a painter C33 licensee or something. But the project that's being proposed on the train depot building, that would be art that's created offsite and then printed on something that can be installed by a contractor onto the building. So that's still in a proposal state and needs to be reviewed and approved by the city manager's office. But the way that the project is being proposed, it's not considered a mural. It's art that would be installed.
Thank you.
Anything else before we seek public input? And any public yet?
No members of the public.
All right. Then we will close 6.2 and move on to new business and item 7.1, the annual downtown parking maintenance assessment district number 2. Is that you? Oh, no, is that you?
That's still me. So as you saw in the memo in your packet, this is our annual renewal of the downtown parking district. I did include a map so you can see in your packet what the downtown parking district looks like. It's sort of a wonky little polygon, but you can see the kind of how it weaves its way. This is an annual renewal, so this is the district that has been around since 1979, and there's an assessment formula that looks at both the land use, that looks at the land use on the parcel, and we collect the same amount every year, $150,606, and that as uses change and new development happens, we sort of cut the pie in different slices, but it's essentially at the same amount every year. And, oh, yeah, please, Sean.
So there's lot number 12 not in the parking district boundary.
It is not, yeah. Lot number 12 and lot number 11 are both outside of the parking district.
But the 158,000 covers all the other, like it covers all of these parking.
So no, the parking district funds can only be used inside of the parking district, yeah. And lot number 12, we're hoping to see development, an affordable housing development take place there. And then lot number 11, yeah, and it's city maintained, it's sort of a dirt lot, it's not very, sort of a semi parking facility. Yeah, and then I apologize, I realized yours is not in color. I could pull up the map, but there is a difference between where parking permits are allowed and so I can pull up a map color, but we do sell parking permits, and so you have to be a property within the parking district to be eligible to purchase a parking permit. And then there are only certain lots that you can park in.
But this is the thing, it's like nothing new, nothing changes. I had one quick question though. So the rate is based on the permitted use. Is it the permitted use or the use? So because sometimes there's like,
It's based on the current use. So
Okay.
if it, because there could be lots of uses that are allowed, but
Right,
if it's
right,
currently
right.
office and that's what it is assessed on.
okay. So actually the total could change. The rate doesn't change, but the final take could change if,
No, the final take will not change. The final take stays the same, and so it could be that you were assessed $200, but then we got another big development over here, and so you'll be assessed less this year and they'll be assessed more. So
or if you change your use from something like a retail to restaurant.
we recalculate, but we rejigger the
Okay.
whole thing every time because, yeah, in
Okay,
order
so
to make more than that,
there's a cap.
yeah, there's a cap.
Okay,
It's just based on how this assessment district was set up. We wanted to change that, we'd have to open the whole thing up again and we would.
sort of like the business improvement district.
So I have a question, that's sort of an odd figure, $158,606. So that sort of implies that at one point in time, there was a escalation clause and then it got paused. It just seems like, why not make it 800, 500, 1,000, 158,000 even? So was there an escalation?
Yeah, I don't know. As it says in the memo, it's been that way for the past 29 years. So
Which you could buy a lot more 29 years ago.
absolutely, yeah,
And
I
I'm
mean.
not suggesting that we increase the cost, but just sort of an odd
Yeah.
way this whole system was set up.
Yeah, I mean, and I will say from an operations and maintenance standpoint, I mean, our costs are going up, to maintain our parking facilities. So there are some challenges there with
I think
this
a number
remaining
of these
flat.
things changed with like, was it Prop 14? Where the council could raise things, but then Prop 14 basically came in and said any fee adjustment also requires a vote. So I think, I don't know if that's the case with this, but I think it might be not the same with the business improvement district, but.
Wait, I have a question. So if you lived here, you purchased a permit, are those lots, like, is this permit parking allowed? Can a non-permitted person park in that lot too?
They can, but they have to adhere to the time limit. So it's
see.
2-hour parking otherwise. Permit holders can park for longer.
Got it.
For lot number 12, do we have, that's the one that you said will be turned into, is the lot itself expected to be turned into affordable housing? Or is the other half of that block gonna be affordable housing and they'll use the lot for parking?
So it would be an affordable housing development on that city-owned
On the
parking
actual-
lot.
The rest of the
So
block
so the
is
parking
residential housing.
would go away.
I think a lot of that residential housing though is owned by the city. I think
On the
that's
other
the
side
way-
of
I think some of it is,
on
anyway.
Franklin Street.
So. Anyway, so. Do we have an idea of what the timeline for that would be?
Yeah, I don't know, what the set project status is. Yeah, I know, just in general, a lot of development is being challenged right now just with the financing environment and tariffs. And so there's quite a few projects that are still working their way through viability.
If there are no other questions, is there any?
I just want to clarify what you're saying. So there is no shovel date yet.
I don't, not that I'm aware of. I don't know, Diana, have you heard any updates on lot 12?
Just making sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry to put you on the spot the second you walk through the door.
Great, Diane Carnley, Principal Planner with the city's planning division. Good morning. The applicant has submitted a revised plan set for our review. And we are currently looking at that. The revised plans do not include any retail at the bottom. It is going to be just a housing project. So staff is currently reviewing it. That's the update.
Thank you, Candace.
Who owns all these lots? Is it all city owned?
So these are all city-owned lots, yeah.
So the city pays the 159 or 158,000. What is this revenue come from? It's still unclear.
So like all of the, inside the gray area, there's all these businesses.
Oh, there's the businesses that are
Businesses pay it.
because of the, got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, it's assessed on, it's,
property tax.
yeah, it's assessed on property, so technically it's the property owners, but oftentimes they get passed on to the businesses. There are also a number of residential
Yeah, so the
properties in
residential.
here, and so they get charged as well. Yeah, although residential is charged at a lower rate, I believe.
And do the revenues cover the costs of maintaining the parking?
No.
We're close to.
No.
So there are a couple of different, and we could do a deeper dive into the parking district at a future time. I'm still wrapping my brain around it as well, but there are a number of different revenue sources that we have that come into the district. And there are some that are sort of discretionary and some that are not, back when we collected in lieu fees. So these were fees that would be collected if a development wasn't going to be able to provide all of the needed parking on site. We would collect fees, and that money can only be used for the creation of new parking supply. So some of that money is sort of tied up with those rules. And then we have some other funding sources that can be used. But we have a reserve that we try to maintain for future upgrades that need to take place. But the quick answer to your question is no. Expenses are outpacing.
Okay, then can I ask a follow-on question?
Yeah.
So then, what is the reason that we haven't increased it in 29 years? Is it just because it's such a hassle to like redo?
We risk
the
losing the
to
district.
calculation?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You could lose the district if you reopen it?
We could reopen it and there could be a vote to not renew, to not have the district. So there's sort of that, it's sort of the risk with all assessment districts is you kind of leave them as is because it's better than nothing. And risk losing kind of the whole kit and caboodle. But we can certainly do a deeper dive where we currently have a scope of work. We're working with Nelson Nygaard, who put together the 2021 parking study to put together a work plan for some implementation of the parking study. So there'll be more to come around the parking district in this next year.
Yeah, just somewhat related to this is it might be a good idea to sort of keep a little log of issues that come up every year. And so that there's like a little primer booklet for new downtown committee members. So we don't have to re-educate everybody every year about things that come back, on a real calendar basis so that everybody sort of has a sense. So.
And that's the same logic behind the BIA, why, that hasn't been updated in 30 years.
So any public?
No members of the public.
All right, is there a motion for the downtown parking maintenance assistant building?
I'll make a motion.
Jamil makes a motion to approve. And Pamela, a second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries unanimously. Moving on, downtown committee work plan.
Okay, so, so Diane, I'd like to provide just a quick precise plan update, if we don't mind just
Oh, okay,
taking
yeah.
that since.
Yeah, I wanted to provide it with the development update, but I want to be distracting. So again, Diana Pancholi, Principal Planner. I'm leading the effort for the city on the downtown precise plan, comprehensive update. We have started with our community outreach program and talking to a lot of different stakeholders, because there are so many stakeholders for downtown, as you can imagine. We did a business focus outreach walking survey, met a couple of you. And we got 50% survey response, almost 50% right now. Yeah, we were really happy. I think one of the most successful things that came out of it was that we had a team with Chinese, Vietnamese, and Spanish speakers. So that actually really helped. Businesses felt really comfortable, especially those who were non-English speakers, and provided input. Some of the key themes that came out was need for more safety, a lot of support for Ped Mall, some complaints about city's lengthy permitting process, that it takes too long. Some businesses also were, they showed interest in more outdoor patio space needed. And we're still assessing the survey themes and the results that are coming out. It's still going on. We're following up with email communication to get survey results from other businesses who did not participate in our walking survey, because they can fill it in by email as well. So we thought that it was like a really successful outreach effort. And our team was there 2 days on Castro and the parallel streets, and then following up with email. So hopefully we'll get more results as we go through this outreach effort. In addition to the business outreach, we are also reaching out to other stakeholders. I mean, we talked to the Historical Association yesterday. We're talking to some of the other folks today and later this week and next week as well. So I will be bringing back updates to the downtown committee as it moves forward. Thank you.
Is the email also going to be multilingual, or is that in English only?
It does have options for multilingual stuff. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks, Diana.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have a question, Diana. When is a draft going to be available to, will there be a draft that's circulated to anyone, or should we just see the final report?
The report? I think it's going to be a final report, but it's going to be part of our existing conditions. So we're still preparing that. I think once the survey is completed, then we'll include it as part of our existing conditions report. We're hoping to go to Planning Commission, City Council in fall this year. So I'm hoping by that time we would have finished that and the report will be available.
Great, thank you.
And just to clarify, sort of your report from the outreach, not, is that what you were asking about, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I just came with my question is that the questions we had for Historical Association. So every stakeholder were asked similar type or same?
So some of the common themes remain the strengths, challenges, opportunities, but our outreach is being tweaked specific to each stakeholder as well, because not many people, like businesses, might not answer for the historical resources. So we're tweaking it to get, key input from the stakeholders, in addition to the common questions like the strengths, challenges, and opportunities.
Okay, good. And the reason I was asking that, I was looking at if there are any surprises, something downtown committee, we can't see it. And businesses who are there all the time see something different, So that'd be interesting to know later on, maybe more will come out, huh?
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Now moving on to 7.2.
Okay, so for those of you who are new to our committee, every year we have to put together a work plan. And each year we submit this to City Council in the fall for review and approval. So included in your packet is the work plan from last year, and it says draft, but it is final. And it's the one that has the title 2024-2025. Today I have a draft work plan for the next fiscal year. And we'll be seeking comment and feedback now to bring back to you for your meeting next month for final approval. I'm happy to pull it up if it's helpful. But it's broken into sort of ongoing work items and then some fiscal year specific work items.
Amanda, do you have a version on the computer that shows the changes from, in color? I don't know if those are here and we can't see it because it's in black and white.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly what isn't here that was here and what's new that wasn't there.
Okay, yeah, I have a track changes.
Also be kind of nice to know, given our recommendations from last time, what kind of made it in.
Right.
This is 24 here, 25. It's for the two papers there and look at the sun.
Right. But you're doing the old.
You know,
Okay, so. So some of it. So we could just sort of take this as it comes. So I removed I added some language to kind of make it sort of match, by putting action words you can see in front of some of those key milestones. Development of city-owned properties, it's not something I was aware that we were doing, so I removed, although if you'd like to see that kept, we certainly could. Supporting economic development initiatives. I added some language here, as you can see, around, sort of the challenges and opportunities facing downtown businesses. Yeah, I removed support the downtown corporate community. I just figured that would be a kind of fall into the larger economic vitality initiatives. Yeah, so yeah, rather than having it subgrouped out into corporate and downtown businesses, I kind of just created a singular item there. I added some updates, so specific to we're going to be working towards the World Cup and Super Bowl coming in 2026. So added some specific language there. I included language about our joint ad hoc committee that we created. So that's the collaborative efforts there. That's new. Added to this one, recommendations on the implementation of the downtown parking strategy. So as I mentioned, we have that current scope of work. So there'll be some, we'll be doing some work around that. So just added some more clarifying language. Again, reviewing the parking district. So adding those action items or action words there. And then, so Ballard Art Project, that's done, so remove that. And then, yeah, we're just, given the challenges we're currently having with murals, and the state legislation, I pulled that for this fiscal year. And then lastly, yeah, again, this is related to the downtown parking strategy, that we're likely have some work plan items that'll come before you. And that's it. So mostly just some cleanup items here. Yeah, I think there are a variety of tacks you could take with our work plan. We could try and be super detailed or give ourselves sort of just keep it more general so that we have flexibility to go where we want to go.
Questions, comments? I had one other one, given that we're working on the upcoming work plan. That, like current status, I mean, I guess I look at that as, we look at it over the course of the year, what's the current status is. So it seems premature to put current status in. Because I look at current status as not the current of today, but once we're into the plan, what's the status if we look at it in December, sort of thing. And so I don't know if that's,
So
I guess that's progress as opposed to current status.
So doing Peter's trying to start an update.
You know, like I know for like when they're doing stuff, when the city managers does stuff for the council, they've got their sort of the red, yellow, green is, you know, on the work plan for the year and okay, this one is completed, this one is bogged down and it's got a big red dot next to it, stuff like that. So I don't know if we're talking about under current status, whether we're sort of talking about progress towards the work plan or is that current status as of the time that we're preparing the work plan?
So you're wanting from like our current work plan for there to be sort of a status report and you mean these notes here?
Right, well, I'm
These
just,
are more like
Yeah.
notes. They look
Well-
like notes, not so much as current
Well,
status.
and that's what I'm saying, you know, so notes might be in italics in current status, but I'm just wondering, do we plan on doing current status? And if not, let's just put notes.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I mean, some of these have, I think in the past we've done some current status, but because current status that changes.
Right.
It's not sort of, that I've kind of tried to keep things more in the notes section. So yeah, we can remove that
Yeah.
title.
I
Okay,
just for clarification of the.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't understand.
Question. Has the city been thinking about adding events to these let's say C? And what a variety of fitness outreach services and activities create a viable downtown and key milestones. Additional events, what kind of additional events are we talking about here? Do you know?
We have, with the joint committee, we've talked about whether there could be some more events around the art that is being exhibited in the CPA, perhaps having like a artist open house sort of a thing. So that's specific to kind of that collaboration. In terms of additional events, you know, we've been talking with the Downtown Business Association about some of the desire for additional events and whether there be modifications to city processes that could support, you know, some of the smaller scale events happening. So we're,
And I think that, let's say, an example would be, let's say, the bunny hop we just recently did, which was, it wasn't a great like the other, but it's the first time we did it. I still think that a lot of kids came out and, you know,
Yeah.
got their tattoos. But I think it was a really great start to, you know, something maybe make a tradition out of it. And where technically we should have a TUP or whatever it is that, you know, city requires, but then the city can come in right there and just kind of let things happen, you know, is within safety boundaries, of course, aspects, but I think those types of events, and now we have the Taste of Mount View coming up, right? Should be really good.
I think there's also a distinction too between, you know, what is it that the DBA is going to take responsibility for versus what can the city step in either as a lead role or a supportive role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
1776, 2026, or is the city planning doing anything for the 250th anniversary of the 1776?
Of the Constitution. Of the.
papers,
democracy.
sign some papers. Not that I'm aware of. It's the 250th anniversary of the city.
No, of the United
1776.
States.
Oh, the US, okay, I'm like,
What is it?
oh.
The sesquicentennial or something?
That's next year, not this year, right? That's
Next year.
Next year.
How do you say it?
Sesquicentennial.
Oh my gosh, okay, I'm not gonna be able to say that ever.
Sesquibicentennial.
No, it's
No.
because it's like a half of 500.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like it's
do it a quarter.
quincentennial, I think is what it is actually. Jamel?
So, I mean, we can add more leagues into the cornhole games and things. They were really improved, so we can add to it, you know, to have more event that way or.
And I think our community services department is looking at whether it can be expanded because it was so successful.
Yeah, it was really great.
Oh, sorry. I was wondering, I mean, I think part of our role or most of our role is meant to be of use to city staff in providing community input on things. So does this reflect what we can be helpful with, or are there other things that that we could be helpful with, that you would add to the work?
Yeah, I added those pieces like the Super Bowl, World Cup. That's a lot of the stuff on the parking district is what I'm anticipating working on. So, yeah, I tried to couch a lot of that in
Okay.
there.
Well, Marina.
Just to kind of combine, now that you mentioned this order thing, 250 years with the Super Bowl, not Super Bowl, World Cup coming up. That would be a great opportunity for the Bay Area to really present itself. Would there be any, okay, on a city level, but what about county level? Funds or something, plans that maybe the city can reach out and ask if any plans are being drawn up for this?
So I'm in regular communication with the Bay Area Host Committee, who is the organizing entity. Yeah, I've met with them 3, maybe 4 times, and they're gonna actually put together a toolkit of sorts for local cities to use, and what they can and can't do. They can't do. There's rules around logo use, like NFL is very protective of their logo, and so we'll know more about what's possible. But we've already starting an internal city working group to kind of figure out how we leverage it. I don't know of any funds that are available at the county level. So it'll be city needing to figure out what we can afford to do, but we'll be working closely with Peter and Marisol on sort of a joint idea around how we can leverage, having a great the train station right here, which may be a connecting point to getting to the games, whether there's opportunities for businesses downtown. So yeah, more to come on that.
So.
And remember, and just before first it's Peter and then you. But also what we're trying to do is just finalize the work plan, not delve into all of the details that might be under the work plan or stuff like that. So we're just working on this document at the moment. Peter?
Yeah, it's just an additive point of information, and that is that as we dive deeper into this, understanding what the city's resources are is going to be important. So is it just going to be, fine, we'll waive permits, or is it going to be, we can provide cash, we can provide humans, we can provide direction, and it's also about ownership. There are certain things that the city has demonstrated a desire to want to own. Great, fine, but but then there are other things that we need to know, are we taking on? And that's kind of tangential to this group. And that's what I wanted to be clear on, is that the downtown committee, is my understanding, is really, as Ann was saying, the advisory body to the city. And so I just procedurally want to make sure that we're focused in the right way and being the most productive, because, Marina and our team can go off, and talk DBA all we want and all that. Is that something that needs to be approved by DTC? Is that something where we come to DTC for, extra resources or recommendations or what? So understanding the process better would be really helpful.
I actually agree with that. I mean, I think that would be really helpful for me, because I've been on the committee now for a little while and it's still not very clear to me.
The process specific to the work plan or process around the committee, like how things come to the committee or.
So kind of, I guess when it comes to events, it's unclear to me what role the DTC wants or should play. Because there's a lot that can happen, outside of this room.
We're not a governing committee.
Oh, I
We are an
understand.
advisory committee to Amanda.
Right, and so that's why I want to understand what kind of advice she needs.
Yes, exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. And is that better served in, for example, having Amanda come to the the DBA versus us discussing it here kind of thing?
Right.
Agreed.
Just want to be efficient.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a dirty word.
Yeah, thank you. That's helpful. And there are some things that council wants to see come to you first in sort of an official capacity. And so, items that come through, but it's a fair question in terms of what we look at. Thank you.
Pamela, then Jamil.
My point was similar to Peter's, if we have ideas or suggestions, how do we present those to you or to ourselves or talk amongst ourselves and decide this is something that we think you should be taking
Email.
as a staff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's, it's sort of a tricky question. We have our, future agenda topic list, but it's, for me, it's sort of trying to think, okay, if there are a couple of things that are high priority for the downtown committee, carving out staff time to pursue those, and having to give up other things we're working on. So it's sort of how do we layer it in? And yeah, so, and I think for me, that's the thing that I'm a little tentative about, just because we're being just short-staffed. As you all know, I'm doing the work of 2 people right now. And so jumping into new waters is a little, it scares me about the extra work, but certainly, if we can coalesce around a couple of key issues, then yes, I think there should be some items that are initiated at the committee level. Those issues that, the one or two things this year that you all want to dive deeper in. I will do the research, I'll research what other cities are doing. So it would be good to get some clear direction and sort of consensus on what those would be. And then I will have things that I will be bringing to you. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, and my take on that is from a more of a governance perspective is, again, Amanda does not work at our behest. We work at hers. And so just because we have stuff that sounds good and we would like to get it done, doesn't mean that's something that the, Economic Development Department is going to pursue. And so, we are not the city council and Amanda is not the city manager. We are advisors to her, and it's really on her to ask us for advice and thoughts and comments that she can use to implement the city's goals with respect to the downtown, not vice versa. So
Actually, as you're saying that, a good place to start might be for us to do a deep dive into the economic vitality strategy. We have a whole goal that is focused on the downtown. So maybe we go through there and see what kind of alignment there might be with the interests, with the priorities that you're seeing and what's in that council accepted program, because it'll be, I think, easier to kind of bring resources to the table. We've been directed to implement the economic vitality strategy. So that might be a good next session. I'm going to council with an update, so I'll have more current status, with the question of status. So maybe that's what we do next meeting, is actually go through that and see what's been flagged there, and if there are some things that we can begin to work on, sort of as a next step.
Jamil.
I was just wondering, the events we're talking about, has to do with the downtown businesses and all that, or we could tap into the entities and other entities in our city, which like schools, we can tap into that. But would you like to have any events here? So it would kind of bring them in and take the downtown to them, so it's more. So just, not adding more work or something.
Yeah.
I think it would be really helpful to see the economic vitality strategy, and it's probably publicly available and I could just go look at it myself, but I think it would be good to hear you speak about it, because I do think, so now having heard you say this, I'm assuming this work plan is what you are saying that you would like for the committee to advise on this year, which is great. But I think at least for me personally, knowing what that strategy is would help inform when we every meeting ask what our future agenda topics we think are useful. It helps us is we know what your priorities are. It can help us say, oh, here's something I've heard that might be useful for that. So it gives us a context for what your priorities are, and I think makes us more efficient in our advisory capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will talk with our chair and vice chair about when we can slot that in, but yeah, and I'll say there's like 164 action items in the so I'll bring a more focused deep dive for us on just the downtown specific ones.
Is there any more input on the sort of proposed work plan that Amanda has submitted? Because this will come up at the next meeting for
approval,
actually adoption.
Yeah, the edits need to happen now, or between now and next month.
And while you're all looking, is there any public that may want to comment on this?
Question, seeing none online or in person.
Okay. And not seeing any comments,
So I just ask a stupid question?
Maybe it's a smart one.
Well, we go from A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we go to 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Is there some delineation I don't know about, or is it? that we
Well, I think
change
Some
the
are
number?
ongoing and some are
Okay,
Either different
for just the
categories.
fiscal year.
Yeah,
okay. It just makes sense.
yeah, it's
It's
an interesting template. I inherited this template.
Okay.
And
Well, I didn't know
Well,
if there- if
feel
there were
free to
some-
clean it up.
yeah, if I hadn't just been on vacation and then sick, it's something I would have had the,
I just want to make sure they weren't a separate set of.
yeah,
of
it's
things.
just
Right.
delineating categories.
Yeah, these are all part of F 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay.
is right.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, thank
Okay.
you all for input.
Moving on then to item 8, committee staff comments, questions, committee reports, random thoughts. Yeah, Sean?
You said that the artwork reflects the bus stop is done by an artist and then applied by a contractor. It's sort of it's applied to the bollards.
Yeah, we've looked into that, and we'd have to figure out how to transport the bollards off-site and potentially transfer ownership of the bollards so they wouldn't be public property. It got very
Just, I
confusing.
mean, like, I assume the bus stop is like a film that gets applied.
Yeah, it's gonna be actually panels, so the art will be installed on panels and then donated to the city, and we will install the art from there. Yeah, good question, though. We went down a lot of rabbit holes, trying to figure out how we can make it happen.
Well, there was also the discussion too of having the bollards be a wrap, right? So that you could have the artwork done separately and then have a contractor actually install it. But that didn't,
Wrap, like a-
yeah, but that didn't
Yeah.
seem to be a way that the artists really wanted.
Yeah, we talked to,
go
and we talked to the vinyl wrap people. They were like, it would have to be very simplistic.
Yeah, right.
Cause it wouldn't be
The
super,
roundness.
yeah, their
Is a
roundness is what
problem.
makes it complicated. And we had an artist that wants to do mosaics, which is
Oh,
gonna be
fun.
really cool. But
Right.
yeah. Very disappointing. I'm disappointed.
No, I just wanted to, I mean, thank the Amanda and the staff, for all the work. A lot goes on behind the scene, and we just think it's all done is, thank you for that.
Sorry, you can go first.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna
Yeah,
say, the
you got it.
parking district number 2, is there a number 1?
There is a number one.
Do we have 2 parking assessment districts?
Yes, I'll have to come back with more information.
I was just wondering, I was like, it's, I was
Yeah,
like, is there another one?
Yeah.
The secret one.
Yeah,
Mm, okay.
just like there's 2 business improvement districts.
Yeah.
It's like V1, V2, right?
Right. Seeing nothing else, we'll move on to adjournment.
Well, hold on.
Oh,
Couple of things. First of all, I just wanted to let the downtown committee know that the chamber spoke up to the council regarding Measure G and how to use the Measure G funds with some suggestions. And one of them that was directly applicable to downtown is that one of our recommendations was to use Measure G funds to do more of the basics, i.e. cleaning, policing, et cetera. The idea being that we always hear, oh, we're short-staffed, or oh, we don't have the funding. Well, guess what? Measure G funds, there's 5 to 15% of that dedicated to small business. Nothing will help small businesses more, well, many things will, but something that will help small businesses quite substantially is to be able to really have clean and safe streets and to do the basics that need to happen.
and Measure G is, of course, the
Parcel tax.
the parcel, no, not the
Trade-
transfer
trade
tax
tax.
increase on parcels, on transfers over $6 million.
Right. The other thing that we mentioned too is that, and that you all should know, is that in Sunnyvale, Scott Johnson, if that's a name that will live forever in infamy, I will remind you that this is the person who drives around in his car and hands out frivolous lawsuits for ADA non-compliance. He's out of jail. And he's back.
No.
And he has hit Sunnyvale. And so one of the things that we would like to work with the city on is some of the preventive measures we can do to show that, if you're going to drive through our streets, we've actually kind of done some work in advance. So this wouldn't be a good idea. And so we want to continue to be vigilant on that one as well. So That's one thing. I have more.
Are you reading between the lines?
No. No, just that, you know, that those I think are uses of Measure G funds that directly apply to downtown. The others are more a general small business. The Downtown Business Association is, and I should let Marina talk about this a little bit, is talking about putting together an open house in June. And Marina, do you want
So we are
to?
planning on doing a kind of what we did during COVID, like a get together with the community and the businesses in downtown, just to kind of, there's a lot of new businesses that came to downtown, and hopefully we will be able to get them in and have them kind of introduce themselves, have like a mingling session. There's going to be food, refreshments provided. There's going to be a panel, right? Decided on that. Just to for where the community can ask questions of businesses, of if they have any concerns, any feedback, anything that business can use to improve or to reach out more to the community. And so last time we had it, it was a great turnout, even though it was COVID, right? And so we're hoping this time we're going to do it on the main floor where it's bigger.
At Monte Carlo.
At Monte Carlo. My dad is cooking.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, I'll be there.
Oh, no, you're
Cooking, I love cooking, yeah.
It's the 26th of June, yeah, from 5:30 to 7:30. And so I think it should, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about the whole setup.
If I can toot your horn just a little louder, and that's when we did it last time, there were about I think 8 people, eight different businesses that presented. And it was really a chance for the public to see a name, a face with the name, right? And so it wasn't just Monte Carlo, they could actually meet Marina and hear from her. And so especially during COVID, where it was all about shop local and these the local businesses, and this is the pain that they're going through. It was a way of reinforcing that message. What we found in doing that too, we had 2 of the city council members there. City council kind of said, wow, we need to hear this. And so we also are looking at this as being an outreach to the city to say, hear us, that, here's what we're going through, here's why what we're doing, so on, name to a face, but also these are some of the challenges that are specific to our downtown businesses. So it's a chance to actually have that kind of presentation as well, so.
Then, the new businesses, what they have faced as far as like, actual obstacles of, prior to opening their business.
I want to be careful. This isn't a discussion item. This is a report item. So
Right.
let's try and keep it reporty.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna have the newest member of the downtown committee just report out on Celebration of Leaders.
Oh, yeah, it's happening. We have Celebration of Leaders next Friday. We are honoring a number of businesses and business owners, leaders. So Jean, our fellow Red Rock leader, she is not small business leader of the year, honoring who else downtown? That would be it downtown.
Anyways.
But other people. So if you haven't registered yet, please do so. We are closing registration probably either at the end of this week or early next week. It will be at the Ainswell Hotel, which we did.
A week from Friday.
Yes, so
Get the date in.
next Friday, May 16th from 5:30 to 7:30 or 5:30 to 9:30. See you there.
Great.
And Taste of Mountain View.
Yes, Taste of Mountain View is June 11th, so that'll be like a week or 2 before the open house. That is our wine, beer, and food walk in the downtown area. We have, I think, about 17 businesses signed up this year, so I think that's one more than last year, and I'm really excited that we have actually 2. So it's not on this end, so it's not just 1 ounce holding. We'll also have Med Grow participating this year, so it should be a lot of fun. And those tickets, those early bird tickets, and next week as well. So if you haven't purchased your ticket yet, I would do so ASAP.
And that's June 11th?
Yes, Wednesday, June 11th from 4 to 8.
Great, thank you.
Seeing nothing else, we will stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.